Bizarre Brain Comics.
Oh, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, we're going to take a look at this Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 114 from 1971. And you can probably see it's got a little bit of water damage on here on the cover. This is, like I said, that makes it early Bronze Age, and is considerably different than the Lois Lane type stories that we're very familiar with in the previous decade, in the Silver Age, and all that Silver Age silliness, which is still fun to read. But in this issue, the whole thing is done more like a romance comic on the cover. Romance cover, the girl crying, oh, it's so common. And it was, at this point in time, Lois Lane was featured less as Superman. He just usually would just like make an appearance or something. And it was more about Lois Lane and her life and adventures in her occupation. And here we have, is Superman falling for her? Said, Thorn, come back. Don't run away from me like this. An astounding super-length thriller starring both Lois and the Thorn. See, at this time, Lois Lane comics had a backup feature of Rose and Thorn. Now, this issue, as I said, is 114 from 1971. Is written, at least the main story, written by Robert Kanigher, with art by Werner Roth and Vince Colletta. You can really see the Vince Colletta in there. And it features, of course, both Lois and Thorn. And the Rose and Thorn backup feature that they had, it was primarily just Thorn, as a character which originated in the Golden Age. She first appearing in Flash number 89 in 1947, and she was created by John Broome and Carmine Infantino. See, the original version was she was a metahuman villain with a dual personality. This is a rebooted version, and this is the main character is Rose Forrest, which is, I've forgotten the name of the other. She was Rose Canton or something like that. But this is a young lady who's Rose Forrest, and she was created by Kanigher and Ross Andrew, and made her first appearance in Lois Lane 105 in 1970. So it's only been about a year. It was a backup feature then. See, this version is a crime fighter as opposed to the villain. She's still possessed of the dual personality. Thorn takes over Rose, who is, as I recall, I have read much of it, but as I recall, she's unaware of the Thorn personality, to fight crime and injustice as she seeks vengeance for the death of her Metropolis Police Department officer father at the hands of the organized crime organization known as the 100, and the 100 is the primary villain in this, and it was primary villain in a lot of the Lois Lane and some of the other Superman related titles at that time. But yeah, this just looks so much like a romance cover. If it was anyone other than Superman, you would swear it was a romance cover. So let's try to take a quick look in here. Lois Lane. This is 25-cent bigger and better. So that's about what, 48, 62 pages, 64 pages, something like that. It has the lead story, which is a full-length story. That's like 22 or 24 page story, and it starts off in the offices of the Daily Planet. Lois, remember, at this time, the Daily Planet is owned by WGBS, the TV station, who is in turn owned by Morgan Edge, and he's making a Perry White talking with Lois about the Black Beacon. Has some. Well, I won't even talk about it. About an editorial in a local black neighborhood community paper, and she wanted to. It's uncredited, and he wants her to find out who it is because he's interested. He's been following this guy's stuff, and he wants her to find out who it is and try to see if he can get him for the planet. So. Meanwhile, Morgan Edge walks in. He says thinks it's a good idea. He's talked a lot about this journalist has talked a lot about the 100, and we need somebody who's hard on the 100. And then we think there's of course the only reason he is interested in taking down the 100 is because the 100 is competition for his own criminal gang that he is a part of, Intergang, yeah. At this point, Morgan Edge is a bad guy, but if I remember correctly, he's not even really Morgan Edge. Anyway, so then we see at the Riverview Funeral Chapel, some goon-looking guys are walking in, and this is the secretary, Rose Forrest, and while she's doing her own stuff, she's hearing these mafiosi type in there, but she's not paying any attention because she's doing some of her own work. But the Thorn personality is paying attention and overhears them talking about on an unconscious level, talking about some kind of bad job that they're supposed to do. And then we have the title, "The Foe of 100 Faces." Well. And meanwhile, these some of the goons, because they're concerned about all the stuff that's being printed about the 100 in this community paper as well. And they see Lois Lane going into the office, and then she discovers that the writer is someone she already knows. I won't talk about how they met, but someone she has met before. And then the lady who is, I think, the editor, and Lois instantly spots that this young lady, what is her name? I don't see it. Doesn't matter. That she is in love with Dave, but she's not trying to not let on. But Lois spots it, so she wants to talk to Dave. And says, "Oh, let's talk, walk and talk. I got something to take care of. There's going to be a demonstration at a construction site, and we're going there." So, meanwhile, they step out, and boom, here comes the car, going to run him down. And then suddenly, Thorn pops up, and she takes out the car with her gadgets and smoke bombs, and she just cleans house. Knocking the crap out of all these guys. Well, so giving Lois and Dave a chance to get away. Then they're downtown at this construction site. It says, "Stop the Metropolis office building site." It's kind of generic, but yeah, because the community wanted this location to be a site for affordable housing for the community, and rather than for this office building. And they talk about some of the conditions and stuff, and how this would help the community. And then the goons see the 100 is behind a lot of this stuff with with the construction of this building, because they want. Then it would force all the businesses in that office complex to be fronts for their organization. Meanwhile, at the construction site, they've got a bunch of goons slipping in with hard hats and stuff, pretending to be some of the construction workers, to then counter the protests, and starting from the back, they're claiming that the protesters are starting some violence when it's actually the goons doing it, and it kind of breaks out into a full-fledged riot. But the goons are after Dave primarily. I mean, he is just kicking ass and taking names. Lois is knocked out. Then he is knocked out, and then Rose appears, dun, da, da, and she is spreading her gas around, and knocking the crap out of all these guys. Just taking them down, but she can't handle them alone. This is when Superman makes his obligatory appearance. He swoops in and takes out all these goons who's doing all the fighting. And this is when we can see in the close-up that I'll try to get that a little better. So yeah, that's better. That Murphy Anderson has been commissioned to ink the face of Superman so that he looks more like the Kurt Swan Murphy Anderson, the established look of Superman, just like they did in when Kirby was doing the Jimmy Olsen stuff. And so Superman wants to help out. He's got just a little bit of time, and at super speed, he starts the construction of both the office building and a housing complex. It would take more than that to supply the materials and get all the paperwork done. But he just quickly starts it, and then the workmen do a lot of the finishing up. But he gets it started so that the building is done lickety split, and the shaking hands. Well, meanwhile, this mafiosi-type looking goon up here says, "Let those squares pray. The 100 will knock down their hopes like a house of cards." And Soups takes off because he's got other things to do. But Lois is kind of hurt because he seemed to barely pay any attention to her. And then she sees and she said, "Oh, I can't. Too bad. I can't. I love him so, but I can't get to spend time with him and all that stuff." Not like Dave and his lady, who he currently doesn't know it. And at this housing complex, they also set up a little like a Black History kiosk, a museum. And here we get a look at some of the significant figures in history, American and otherwise. And then sometime later, after the buildings are fully constructed and people are moved in and stuff, we start getting some photographs at the planet of crimes and stuff, people dumping garbage and people just doing bad stuff around there. So Lois goes back to the housing complex, and she suspects it's fake, which it turns out to be. And just as she gets there, there's an explosion in the housing complex, and so some stuff is burning. Meanwhile, there was but they're supposed to be having a community outreach program, party-like thing going on in the courtyard of the housing complex, and they still have it going. Lois is there to help. Everyone's there helping. Lois is helping out, and someone throws a firebomb right on the table where the kids are. Lois quickly grabs it, runs off with it, and tosses it someplace where it's safe. But in the process, she burns her hands severely. But she sees Thorne sneaking into another building over there, so trying to ignore the burns on her hands, she follows Thorne, and because those pictures, as I was saying, they were provided by America Awake, a racist organization. And here is the offices of America Awake, which turns out to be a front for the 100. And Lois is snatched But Dave had followed Lois, and as she's distracted, Thorne gets her gas out again, and she and Dave are going to town beating the crap out of all these guys. Well, there's a lot of violence in this issue, and so Lois is taken out. She gets to the hospital. Everyone is hunky-dory. A bunch of the criminals, of course, the 100 as a whole is not taken down, but it's another niche in a crack in the wall of the 100, and Dave decides to take the job at the Daily Planet because he can reach a wider audience than in just a community paper, and the young lady is going as his assistant, and Perry White and Lois are happy about the whole deal, and so is Morgan Edge because of that. Then we come to our backup story, which is a reprint from 1965, The Reptile Girl of Metropolis. I'm not going to go into that. Written by Leo Dorfman, art by Kurt Schaffenberger, who did a lot of this stuff back then. And it's the typical Silver Age silliness that is still fun to read. So that is what I had to share with you this time with Lois Lane, number 114, 1971. And some nice artwork, and a pretty decent story. Had some little problems in the writing, which I won't even go into, but overall it was a good story. I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Do you like this era of Lois Lane, or are you stuck in the Silver Age with the silliness? What have you? Which era of Lois Lane do you like best? Do you like her with more Superman involved or less Superman involved? Personally, I like it with less Superman involved. And let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.